Afghan peace talks have been cancelled just a few hours ago. The announcement was made by the US President Donald Trump. 9 rounds of talks spanning a period of almost a year. In the end, it comes to nothing. Why these talks have been suspended and what is the way forward? We'll try to have a look at it. Please keep on watching, and if you like my channel, please subscribe to it. Now, why the talks have been cancelled? This announcement is not very surprising. It was being feared that something like that could happen. Because this process of negotiations, it was being criticized. It was being said that it's not very inclusive. Only Taliban and US are negotiating. Other stakeholders, other ethnic groups of Afghanistan, Afghan government, other neighboring countries, they are out of these negotiations. Since all of them are major stakeholders in Afghanistan, so it won't be easy to reach a sustainable peace deal in the absence of all the major stakeholders. So these negotiations were being criticized. US government was under criticism. Secondly, Taliban were not willing to halt their attacks against Afghan government and NATO. On 2nd of September, 3rd of September, we saw the most recent attacks. Romanian official, Nepalese nationals, US sergeants were killed, and Taliban acknowledged these attacks. So the pressure was mounting on the US government. And it was being said that the US is not negotiating for peace in Afghanistan. Rather, it's negotiating for its withdrawal from Afghanistan. It was being said that these negotiations are for honorable exit from Afghanistan. So this thing, I think it led to the increased pressure upon the US government, and they had to announce this cancellation. Now, what is the way forward? How to reach a sustainable peace deal in Afghanistan? In order to reach a sustainable peace deal in Afghanistan, it must be realized that Afghanistan issue, it's not between Taliban and the US. There are several other stakeholders, and you need an inclusive dialogue to include all the stakeholders. I mean, Afghanistan, it's a multi-ethnic society. Almost 40% Pashtuns, 20% Tajiks, Hazara, Uzbeks, 9% each. You cannot keep them out of negotiations. You cannot say that first America and Taliban will negotiate, then Taliban and other factions will negotiate. No. You need inclusive process of talks. These ethnic groups, they have been fighting against one another. In the 1990s, we saw Hazaras, Uzbeks, and Tajiks fighting Pashtuns. So you cannot let them decide their matters on their own. They cannot. They are major stakeholders. You need to bring all of them on table. So all the ethnic groups, they must be included in these talks. Secondly, Afghanistan is not a local issue. It's not a national issue. It's not only confined to Afghanistan. It's a regional issue. Almost all the neighbors of Afghanistan, they have been involved and they are involved in Afghanistan. In one way or the other, they are involved. I mean, Pakistan has been accused in the past of supporting Taliban. They do have an interest in Afghanistan. Millions of Afghan refugees, they are inside Pakistan. India does not share a border with Afghanistan, but recently we read an article in the Indian newspaper Hindu about India backing Northern Alliance in Afghanistan. Northern Alliance, we know it was formed in the 1990s. It was formed to fight Taliban, and it was a combination of Uzbeks, Hazaras and Tajiks. So India, it has some regional aspirations as well. It has also interest in Afghanistan. Iran, we know that Hazaras are Shias. Iran is a Shia state as well. So Iran has soft corner for Hazaras. Iran has been condemning the alleged brutalities of Taliban in Mazar Sharif and in Bamiyan, where there is Shia majority. Fourthly, Tajikistan. Tajiks are almost 27% of Afghanistan's population. Tajik leaders of the past, Ahmad Shah Massoud, they had very close connections with Tajikistan. So you cannot keep Tajikistan out of these negotiations. And last but not the least, Russia. Russia lost in Afghanistan, and it was because of involvement of the US and Pakistan. Certainly, we cannot deny it. Now, they want to be even Steven with the US. So they do have some interest in Afghanistan. China, we know that East Turkestan movement, China's province, Xinjiang province. So China is a bit cautious that any terrorist, any extremist government in Afghanistan, if it comes, it can lead to unrest in its neighboring province, Xinjiang. So all of these countries, they have their interests in Afghanistan. They have their players in Afghanistan. You cannot keep them out of this process. You cannot decide the future of Afghanistan in Doha only between Taliban and the US. That won't succeed. In order to reach a sustainable, a viable deal, you need an inclusive process of talks. Ethnic groups, neighbors of Afghanistan, all of them must be taken on board.